Welcome back to the Viking Central podcast. It's been a while. It's been about 3 months, but we are back, putting our beautiful faces back in front of the camera for you. Jonesy, how the hell are you doing?
Good, Pete, man. Just happy to be back. Happy for the season to get going. Happy for this to be back up and running, and I'm excited for what should be a pretty interesting year of Vikings football. That's for sure. The offseason has been interesting to say the very least. It's had very high ups, very low downs, and we're just getting training camp started.
Yeah, it's been a long line of events, going back to the draft with, the big draft, JJ McCarthy, Dallas Turner, and then a couple, unfortunate offseason events, one really unfortunate one, and then another one that was just, something a player did that, could have been avoided. But before we hop into all these goodies, I do want to shout out our sponsor. That's Badass Wood Art. So we are sponsored by Badass Wood Art. You can see that skull sign above the Tommy Kramer jersey. It's custom wood art. Luis does a fantastic job. You see their logo up in the corner there. Find them on Twitter, on Facebook, on their website. Use code VC15 for 15% off your order. All right. So getting into these line of events, we'll start with the most unfortunate, the most tragic, the passing of Vikings corner. Khyree Jackson was killed in a drunk driving accident. Just a really sad event, 24 years old. An event that could have been avoided, but unfortunately just ended the worst way possible. Him and two of his former teammates, I believe, were involved in it. Just a really tragic event.
Yeah, it was definitely, I figured out the news when I was at work and very saddened by it. He was very beloved by all of his coaches and teammates and players, from everything that I read and saw. And on top of that, he was the team was super excited about him. Flores was pumped to have a guy that was long and fast and strong at the corner position. And I know that Vikings fans were super excited for it too, to bring in a corner of that caliber, someone who, went from Alabama and, was real good there. Excuse me. And then transferred to Oregon and, had a lot of success at Oregon. And, he's someone who, if you look at Odunze's stats against him last season, he was someone that you could definitely be excited about. Dunze had a couple decent games against Oregon, but if you look at the plays where specifically Khyree Jackson was guarding him, he shut him down pretty good. So I was personally really excited for that prospect coming into this year. And I know Flores was going to use him in a lot of different ways. So, and the team aspect, it sucks, but even more importantly, obviously, a young man with just the most potential to go out like that, man, it's just heartbreaking. And I do love what the Vikings are doing to honor him.
Yep.
I saw the big KJ on at the training camp today. And then I'm sure there's going to be a helmet sticker.
Yep.
And helping the family out with the contract situation and the funeral costs was pretty first class by the organization. I would expect nothing less. And they did the right thing there. So
yeah.
And then, not to just stick on the team, but then today we lose another corner. Mekhi Blackman with a torn ACL first day training camp. So
yeah, not good. I mean, it's like you said, it's just kind of been a pile on ever since, the last month or so for sure, with Khyree. And then, like you said today, Mekhi Blackman tore his ACL, obviously out for the rest of the season. We weren't super strong at the position to begin with, but, you still got Shaq Griffin, who's a veteran, Byron Murphy Jr., who's an up and down corner, has all the tools to be really good. But then you have a lot of unknowns after that, where it's, like Andrew Booth Jr. And then,
Duke shows, man.
Duke Shelley's back. Yeah, that's another big move that the Vikings made.
Yeah.
Bigger now, looking at the scope of things, but they're really gonna have to make some sort of move there. If it's a veteran off the free
We're pretty
agent.
loaded at safety. Maybe they can recondition Lou Sign to be productive at a different position or something.
Who knows? I mean, it'd be nice, but at the same time, like, I don't know. And that safety group is loaded. There's like five safeties there that can play at any given moment. But I mean, one of these young guys are going to have to step up for sure. I mean, Andrew Booth Jr. I mean, does he still have time to make some steps towards being a starting caliber corner? I really like that Dwight McLaughlin. He's an undrafted corner.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of raw yet, but he's lengthy, and I think he's a Flores type player. So you never know what they can get out of a kid like that. So,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mock drafts that saw him obviously getting drafted. So,
right,
that could be a really nice pickup
for sure.
So, and hopefully they have some luck with the undrafted free agents like they did last year.
For sure.
Ivan Pace Jr. wearing the green dot this year.
That's awesome.
Rightfully so. I think.
It only took him a year to get the green dot. Like,
he had it for a couple games last year,
right?
When Hicks went out. So
yeah, it's insane that he went undrafted because the dude's an animal. I mean, and he's got instincts. I mean,
just a little undersized.
Exactly, that's all it is. But like, you couldn't take a 5th, 6th, 7th round, flyer on him. Like, he's got all the tools. I mean, it's pretty wild to me, but I don't know.
I mean, they say it's better to go undrafted than get drafted in the 7th round.
Honestly, yeah, you can pretty much choose your team at that point. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, you can choose, and
for sure.
And yeah, that was awesome. Great pickup by them,
for sure.
And then we had CD Christian Darrisaw sign his contract yesterday, which is awesome. Sure. Ensuring or solidifying the tackle position on both sides for years to come. That's massive.
Yeah, especially with a rookie quarterback. Like, he might not play this year, but you want anchors on your ends if you have like a young quarterback, and the time to pay him is now, because you're not paying a huge chunk of money to like a Kirk Cousins or another veteran quarterback. So pay your bookends on the offensive line. Make JJ as comfortable as you possibly can, because next year it's probably going to be his team. So give him all the weapons. I know it was a pretty rich contract, but he was worth it. I mean, it came to just over 28 million AAV. But.
Right, and but they paid him a year early too, which I think is going to really benefit them. Benefit the salary cap, especially in the long run, by getting that contract on the books now. It's kind of similar. I mean, back when they gave Danielle Hunter his original contract after the rookie contract, anyway, and they paid. We were paying him next to nothing.
Right, for sure.
For that kind of talent was pretty awesome. So I think that while it's a large amount right now, that by next year after, it's not going to see.
Yeah, it'll pretty much look like a bargain. I mean, even if he's still the 4th or 5th highest, at the end of next year, it's still worth it, because he is a top 5 tackle in the league. Just got to stay healthy. He's missed 10 games through 3 years, but just stay on the field, and he's an amazing player in pass protection and in the run game. So yeah, glad to see him get locked up. I'm thinking maybe Cam Bynum might be the next on an extension. His contract is up after this year. I thought that's who was going to be right off the bat, and CD came and got his money, which I think should be the priority ahead of a safety, especially with that safety group as strong as it is. But I think Cam Bynum deserves to get a little bit of a pay increase as well. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, he's only progressed. He's gotten better and better every year, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table this year. I think he's going to be used in a lot of fun ways. I think we're going to see a lot more Bynum and Josh Metellus this year. I mean, I know Harrison Smith will be used a lot still, but I don't think I think that you're going to see a lot more from some other guys.
Do you
Because
think
there were a few times last year that Harrison got, I mean, I know he's a Hall of Famer, one of my favorite Vikings of all time. Okay. So I'm not trashing the guy, but he's up there a little bit in age, and there were some iffy moments last year. So
well, Father Time is undefeated, so it's going to happen sooner or later. He's still pretty productive.
Yes.
But I was gonna ask you, like, Cam Bynum, like, he played corner at California when he was in college. Do you think they fiddle with that at all? I mean, it's a pretty stacked safety group, so if they want to experiment a little bit,
they use Josh Metellus as that nickel, a lot. So I don't see him really going away from that. But the cool thing about the Flores defense is, man, everyone plays everywhere. So
it's true.
Well, you just got to have guys that are willing to, be versatile.
For sure.
And if you can be versatile, then I mean, I think we'll see people all over the place. Especially that, and that's where I think Harrison Smith will come in handy a lot, is pressure off the edge. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of pass rushing out of Harrison Smith this year. It's going to be super fun. Especially with, now Grunard and Van Ginkel and Dowse Turner, and Harrison Smith coming off the edge, Josh Metellus coming up in the box, Ivan Pace rushing the quarterback. I mean, that's the name of the game right there. Okay, you got to get pressure. You got to get pressure with 4. Hopefully, it doesn't matter what 4. If you can get pressure with 4, traditionally you're pretty successful defense.
For sure.
I mean, that's the key to winning. Pressure with 4 and pressure in the quarterback's face. Pressure up the middle. Pressure with 4.
For sure.
Yeah, and then whatever your corner situation is, look, they're not asking you to defend a wide receiver for 5-6 seconds. Okay, right. Just hang in there for 2 or 3, and we're getting home.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, and I trust Flo. I mean, he cooks up a lot of different combinations, and especially like what you said with all those versatile defenders, Dallas Turner, Andrew Van Ginkel, guys that can just get after the passer in the interior or on the edge. I mean, he's going to have a bunch of different ways he can play with that front. Now the run defense might scare me a little bit because we don't have a lot of meat up front. I mean, we got Harrison Phillips, which I think he's a solid player. Don't get me wrong, but he's not like a true anchor in the middle of that defense. I don't think we have a true run stopper. Maybe Jacqueline Roy can be that second-year guy at LSU, but that's going to be asking a lot.
He needs to take a big step.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he played some snaps last year, but it doesn't feel like Brian Flores completely trusted him last year. So it'll be interesting to see, because you signed a guy like Jerry Tillery, who is not super thick. I mean, I think he'll be able to get after the passer a little bit, but I don't see him as a true run stopper. And then Jonathan Bullard's rock solid, but at the same time, like, we need someone to stop the run. But
but I think that's where I think you'll see a lot more Harrison Smith, like in the box, almost like an edge linebacker kind of position player, like in that sense, a lot more this year, which could be a lot of fun. I totally, that's going to be a fear of mine all year. That would probably be a frustration, honestly, watching the interior defensive line. And again, Ivan Pace, incredible talent. He is undersized. We saw it with Mixon last year. Mixon ran him over to get in the end zone. So that's the kind of stuff that, not going to enjoy seeing if it happens again. So
for sure,
definitely an area that I feel like they'll want to address, in the future. But we got the team. I mean, if we're being honest, going into this season, if you want, maybe too early predictions. We haven't really done this segment, and I haven't dove deep into it. But I mean, not to piss everyone off, but new quarterback situation. Got rid of a ton of talent on the team, bringing in new guys, a lot of turnover. Already crazy stuff happened in the offseason. A 6.5. I think we're at 5.5 or 6.5 win total in Vegas. So if we're 7 wins this year, I'm not trying to say that, but I'll be happy with 8 wins, 8, 9 wins this year. I understand it's where we're at as a team.
It's a transition year, in my opinion.
Which fine, totally cool, man. Like you got to have that to build. Our trajectory right now is what everyone needs to be excited about,
for sure.
And you need to put full support into the team this year, knowing full well it may not be the best record, but you got to hold on to the moments and understand, like, hey, you saw the glimpses of what this team is going to be in the future.
Yep. And like you said, like the expectations are going to be low, but at the same time, like this year is it's truly needed for the next step. Because we got our young guys locked up. JJ McCarthy's a rookie. You know, he's going to need a year or two to develop. And then you got a ton of cap space going into next year, like where you can sign a defensive tackle, you can sign a corner, you can sign a third wide receiver, you can sign a guard. Like you're going to have money to play with going into 2025, 2026. And then, you know, okay, if we get a top 15 pick, a top 12 pick, like you're going to get a damn good player
exactly
at that position. So
yes, yeah. I mean, and that's how it works. Like that's how you build the team. We want a Super Bowl so bad, and I know we want it every year. We all do.
Yeah.
And it, you know, I truly believe that we have the right pieces to the puzzle at this moment in time. I think it's going to be up to ownership to let them do their jobs and do their jobs properly.
Yep.
And I really think they can bring one home for us.
For sure.
I'm more optimism now than I ever had.
Yeah,
I agree. The Zimmer era, I'll tell you that. The Zimmer Spielman era for sure.
I agree. I mean, we're in the modern day era of the Vikings football. Like you got an offensive head coach, an analytical, you know, GM, which isn't always the best, but you know, he's got room to improve, and he's got a lot of things to improve yet. But I feel like we're heading in the right direction, both, you know, with our head coach and our front office. So really looking forward to seeing where, like you said, where these guys go the next 2-3 years. But you know, moving over to the offense side of the football, I did want to talk a little bit about the wide receivers, and we can also transition into the Jordan Addison situation as well a little bit, where, you know, the following weekend after Khyree Jackson's passing, got pulled over just outside of LAX in Los Angeles, under the influence of something. If it was alcohol, if you had an edible or marijuana or whatever it is, I'm not going to speculate too much because we just don't know what it is. But obviously, just not a good look, not a good situation. You know, he made a mistake. He's lived up to it. Maybe going to get some disciplinary action, maybe not. But, you know, the Vikings seem to support him. They're disappointed, but, you know, at the end of the day, they want to support these guys and, you know, just figure it out.
Yeah. More than anything, it's just a bad look.
Yeah.
You know, your teammate just passed away from a drunk driving incident. So to be under the influence of whatever it may have been, and have that kind of black eye, it's just, you know, it's not good. Having and the season before, the off season before, had an incident, getting pulled over. You know, it doesn't look great. I'm not going to chastise. I'm not going to just ream him too bad.
Yeah.
He's a kid. He's making mistakes. I really do believe that the pieces are in place for mentorship with him. And I think, you know, especially having Jetta's there and Coach O'Connell and Keenan McCardell and the Viking staff that's there to be able to, hey, listen, young fella, that's not the way we do things. Let's clean it up. Let's act right. It's okay to have fun. Be smart about it. And I think that he'll take it to heart and do better. And, you know, if he doesn't, he obviously won't be in the league. But it's unfortunate to see, that's for sure. I saw a lot of stuff out there about, I'm done with this guy. Like kick him off, whatever, this, that, and the other. Look, at the end of the day, again, you got to understand, the dude's 23 years old, 23, 22, 23, whatever you. he's gonna make, like, people do dumb stuff at that age. If people had the laundry list of dumb stuff I did at that age, it would be they'd be reading for days. So okay, couple errors that thankfully no one was hurt, no one was harmed in either instance.
Yeah.
All right. If it becomes pattern, 2 is 3 is a pattern. So
Yep.
you gotta put an end to it now. And I have full faith that he will.
Yeah.
Just hearing him talk and about the situations, I think he's remorseful and understands that he's got to cut that out.
Yeah. And like you said, he's got a strong foundation around him where I think he can get this turnaround. I mean, I think Kwesi also alluded to this where he's like, I got a really, supportive family, like a really good set of parents and everything like that, which is also, really important for foundation on, just fixing these little things. I mean, it's like you said, it hasn't really turned into a pattern quite yet, and we hope it never gets there. But, if he can get it fixed, I mean, that's what we want at the end of the day. But I expect him to have a big 2024. I mean,
heck yeah.
Yeah.
How about we didn't even touch on the Jefferson contract? I mean, wow.
That seemed like forever ago.
I know it does. But hey, it was awesome. Yeah. Happy to have him for so many years now. And he got every cent that he deserved. That's for dang sure. And,
yeah.
I'm just super excited about this receiving core for the future.
Yeah, I am too. And that's where I'm kind of going to get to as well. So we're pretty top heavy. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. You got Brandon Powell, who proved himself a little bit last season. And then there's a bunch of unknowns. Trent Sherfield, more of a blocking wide receiver. Pretty physical guy. Doesn't catch a ton of passes, but he's probably capable. And you got Jalen Naylor, who's shown some promise in the past, but can not stay on the field. And then you got a couple guys that were like UDFAs last year and this year, Thayer Thomas, Lucky Jackson. And maybe we'll add a guy to that group as well. But what are you kind of looking at on the back end of that receiving core?
Well, I don't think you'll see much more than 3 wide receiver sets a whole lot, especially bringing in Tunyon and having some talent at the tight end position now. Pretty deep at tight end.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see a lot of utilization of 2x2 sets.
Yep.
2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, which will be fun
for sure.
And there's a lot of fun ways that you can use 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers and keep the defense guessing, which KOC is pretty good at the offensive side of drawing up plays and all that.
Sure.
So I think we won't have any issues there. But yeah, I love Brandon Powell as long as we're not asking him to touch push. And I like having him out there in the slot, and he could definitely pick up some third and short first downs for us.
Yeah.
So I don't see them really trying to go after another wide receiver this year. Sure. It's when you look at it as a whole, if Brandon Powell's our third, you're Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Brandon Powell. I mean, how many teams out there have a better 1, 2, 3 than that?
Right. For sure.
Maybe the Bears, but maybe we'll see how good the Doomsday is. But yeah, there's just that's just a solid foundation right there. Like you can't do much better. So.
Yeah, and I did hear some Hunter Renfro's team, which I heard it, but at the same time, like they're probably going to focus on corner now a little bit more than add into the wide receiver group. Yep, and I also think another wild card is like Aaron Jones can even split out wide every now and then. A guy that he's a fantastic receiving back, so I think they'll have plenty of weapons in the passing game. So, and like you said, KOC will scheme guys open, whoever it is at this point. So,
yeah, it's not going to be a problem there. Yeah, Aaron Jones is such a massive weapon to add out of the backfield for pass catching. It's going to be awesome.
For sure.
I'm excited to see how we utilize backs this year in the run game.
Yeah, I think both Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler I think both gonna have pretty solid seasons. I really hope we get that run game going because we've became too one-dimensional the last couple of years. But I think this is the year that they figured out with a veteran guy like Aaron Jones, and then Chandler showed some flashes at the end of last year too, where he had some big games. I think he had 1 or 2 games over 100 yards, so he's more than capable as well.
But, yeah, I mean, I think a lot's going to depend on Garrett Bradbury, so we'll see. We'll see if he can have a decent year at center and the interior O-line can hold up. Yeah, I think we could have a very successful run game this year. It's you got Bradbury and Reisner both undersized at their position.
Yep.
So it's tough when you go against the big fellows that can shove you back when you're trying to run the ball, because even if you're playing outside zone, you're going to have a defensive back 2-3 yards in the backfield before you even get a chance to get outside. So yeah, that's been an ongoing theme that needs to be addressed. I really think they tried to address it this offseason with Christian Wilkins, and they missed out on that. So I think it'll be addressed in the next offseason.
Yeah, I agree. That's going to be the time.
I'm sorry, that was defensive side of the ball, but I think they tried to. I think they were looking center at one point in the draft and missed out.
Yep, I heard center in the draft, and then there was some Lloyd Cushenberry steam, but then he got paid massive dollars to stay with Denver. So it sounded like they were looking in the interior, like you said. It's probably going to be next year because they got the money to do it next year, and then maybe look in the draft as well. But I did want to pick your brain a little bit. One more thing, everyone's favorite topic right now, and it might not even be a topic at the end of the day because maybe Sam Darnold does run away with QB1, and there's really not too much of a competition. But Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy, what's your kind of take on those guys right now?
Well, I mean, Darnold's on a 1-year deal. I mean, he's got a prove it deal. That's all it is. I think he knows this is an audition for himself. And I fully expect him to start the season as QB1. And I think he'll actually have a pretty long leash for at least the first half of the season.
Yeah.
If he deems to be pretty successful, then he'll stay in there. If we go into say week 9 and we have a losing record, then you'll probably see JJ McCarthy come in there. But I think Sam Darnold has the tools to be successful. He has. I think he's been in some pretty rough situations in his career. But yeah, I think if he can prove himself, he'll end up with a pretty decent contract on a new team the year after. So, and I kind of hope that for him, honestly. Obviously, for our sake, to have a decent year, we're going to need Darnold to be successful. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the infrastructure around him. Like you said, he's never had this before. And, O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah have said the same thing. Like, he's never been, in this offensive system, never had this many weapons around him, solid offensive line. Like you said, he got drafted by the freaking New York Jets. Like, what's the last time a rookie quarterback went there and was successful? Ever? I don't know. I mean, it hasn't happened. So we'll see. I mean, I think we'll figure out pretty quick if he's the answer. I think they do and should start him to begin the year, and that's kind of the way that they're going to go, in my opinion, just to see what he's got. I mean, if it is bad after the first 5 or 6 games, you can always turn to McCarthy. But like you said, I don't think there's no rush. And again, this is a transition year. I think they know it. So I don't think there's going to be any rush. Like if you win 5-6 games this year, is it really the end of the world? I don't think O'Connell or
honestly
are on the hot seat or anything at this point either. So
no, I mean, no, I don't think so either. No. And I mean, if you're gonna have a down year, it's okay when you have the rookie quarterback to have a down year, and then have a really high draft pick or low draft pick, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that can really boost your team to the next level. You just got to draft right. So
Yep. No, I agree completely. Anything else you want to throw in, Ryan, before we?
Just some exciting guests coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to shout them out or we, or tentative guests coming up. So stay tuned for that.
For sure. Well, Friday we do have, it'll actually be released to you guys on Saturday. Probably we're recording on Friday with Purple Persuasion. We're going to get him on, pick his brain a little bit like that. So he's going to be a fun guest to have. He's been on here before, just knows a lot about the Vikings. Obviously, I mean, the dude lives on Twitter. I don't know how he does it. Like, he aggregates everything and does it to a T. So it's going to be fun to pick his brain a little bit. And then next week we got a couple guys coming on as well. Alec Lewis will be on Wednesday. So he's going to be a big one as well because he knows everything Vikings football. He's right front and center of it all, especially with training camp going on. So it's going to be fun to get his vantage point as well.
We might have something brewing here if you're a big on X and Vikings Twitter or X, whatever you would call it. You saw this offseason, maybe some drama go down, and we might air some dirty laundry.
That's all right. We know we like the dirty laundry, a little bit of drama. That's what social media is all about. And like Jonesy said, we're gonna be right there for it. So you guys stay tuned. Jonesy, hell of an episode. Had a lot of fun. We will see you guys in the next one. Again, I want to shout out our sponsor real quick. That's Badass Wood Art. Use code VC15 at checkout for 15% off your order. Later.